Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome back to the magical Krown's Crypto Cave.
Alrighty, well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Waking up for a nice and early Monday morning over here in bright and sunny and very hot Helsinki, Finland. Want to be wishing you well. Want to wish you a nice, healthy start to your week. And we got plenty to talk about with Bitcoin's weekly and quarterly and monthly closing all in one last night. I do want to wish you a happy start to what month is it? July. Yeah, hey, happy July. July fucking sucks. But you know what doesn't suck? This price action with plenty of opportunity all the way around. So I do want to wish you the best, the happiest. And without further ado, we got all things to discuss, and I'll initiate that good old teleportation. See you in the live scene. And there she is, Bitcoin in all of her glory on the daily. And on Bitstamp, you actually do see that the daily does look a little bit anemic here. In fact, if I was just looking at the daily, I would say that this is this is certainly not optimal right here with the closure. In fact, yesterday's daily not only closing bad, but that did carry on over into the weekly, which did close as a massive shooting star dildo right here. Still doesn't have fall through on it, but whenever I see something like this on extremely heavy volume, that typically is your traditional top. Actually, does indicate selling pressure, of course, but until we actually have fall through to the downside, I would still not be willing to call this, a confirmed reversal. And fall through to the downside will be confirmed if we just take out the low of this guy at 10,300, or if we initiate something that we've been speaking about for the past few days, with the lower time frames, taking out our lower level right here on at about 10,700, the same area that we've been talking about for the past week, or sorry, not week, but about half week, coming into this range right on over here, the blue box territory, which I'm going to refer to as a liquid zone. As long as Bitcoin is closing 4-hour dildos above there, I don't really see any problem with this. So with that said, we really need to incorporate a full-on, encompassing view of the market. And with that, I want to check out CMEs. And CMEs, you'll notice that on the weekly, they look significantly different. CMEs had a nice, massive, girthy weekly dildo close right here, looking absolutely nothing like spot charts. So which one do I put more weight on? Well, CMEs, they're the most professional exchange, and I do believe that is the one that runs price action most optimally, and that's the one that I've had the most success with putting the most weight on. So with that said, I would still be running with my former assumption that, hey, as long as Bitcoin holds this region right here, I really don't see any reason to be on the side of on the side of talking about a reversal here. Now, of course, I've been there's a lot of new people in this community right here, or sorry, right now, which I want to welcome everyone, but also I feel like, nowadays it's very, very funny compared to last year. For the people who have been here since, especially, late 2018, but also, just for the past year that we've been doing this. I was called a perma bear all throughout 2018, right? Calling the moves down, as I'm sure a bunch of other people were as well. And then this year, now I'm getting called a perma bull, which is all, it's all well and good, of course. But my point is that until we actually change this around, I'm really not willing to be calling a reversal here, especially looking at CMEs and just looking at overall structure. As long as this area holds 10,700, nothing's changed here. I just see this as consolidation. A little bit on the weaker side, of course. Daily not close, like we said, daily not closing optimally. And more importantly, if we actually do break this area, well, then yes, I would be looking for, I don't know if I really want to play a short, but I would certainly be looking for some downside. I wouldn't want to be long, I'll put it that way. And I'd be targeting a move at the very least 10,000. Probably do see a bounce around 10,000. Also fill the gap on CMEs coming back from last week, right on over here on June 21st. But more importantly, probably do bounce there and then head lower over time. But until that happens, I'm really not looking for that downside. In fact, for full disclosure and in full transparency, and to follow up on yesterday's video, I did the exact same thing a couple times in the last 12 hours since we last spoke. With buying that area on these December futures. Now, actually traded them away. As you do see, I have a little bit of a short position, but I am overall long. Full disclosure right here, just showing all these positions, selling at about 11,700, 11,600. You get the idea, and then buying much lower at the low 11,000. So about a $500 trade, as you do see right on over here, about a $500 trade, and still running. That could actually be. I'm actually considering rebuying this one right now. I am pretty long as far as my streamer account goes. I typically don't like to hold more than like 15 long deltas on this guy, but 15 in terms of Bitcoin delta. But as far as what I'm looking at, I actually wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind playing off this even more. I mean, you do see that it's very obviously getting picked up. I haven't changed anything here for the last for the last few days since we actually got into this range, and it still works until it doesn't work. And of course, I know that that kind of statement might not seem too helpful, and maybe it isn't that helpful. But more importantly, that is technical analysis. We only the value in it is when it tells us that that trade idea is wrong. wrong. And how would it tell us that this is going to be wrong? Well, if we start to close, 2-hour dildos below about 10,700, or even hourly dildos below 10,700, we haven't even done that. Also breaking the blue 377 exponential moving average along the way. So, that to me is still a clear indication of a trade setup. We do have also our lower time frame oscillators pointed back up, and we're starting to get all of the lower time frames on the same side. So typically when I see these things align, I really do like I like going on that side. So we do see hourly Stokes to the upside. These have been damn good, especially with the long calls and in confluence with the overall macro trend. We see 2-hour Stokes actually having a fresh cross the upside, looking weak here. But again, when we go up to another higher time frame, the 3-hour right here, we see that they want to cross the upside as well. 4-hour and getting down there and looking a little bit weaker, losing momentum to the downside as price actually really not breaking any major significant areas. So that's really what I wanted to get out during this morning's video, because focusing on the lower time frames. Obviously we're going to get to the higher time frames in just a second, and also I got a great response on the very short video that I uploaded last night. I can do those all the time. I didn't know that people were interested in that kind of shit, but hey, if you are interested in that kind of shit, I can do that all the fucking time. Although this week I will be quite busy because I will be moving, but overall, that kind of stuff is just the bread and butter of my game. Very, very simple, and as you can see, quite effective. Again, going back to the position over here, just in the last day and a half, I'd say day, pulled in about 3/4 of the Bitcoin here, and well, I can actually just pull in a little bit more. Elsa's causing all sorts of troubles into it, in the kitchen back there. But for right now, I am pretty comfortable with my risk. Maybe I'll buy back just a little bit, but overall, Bitcoin just kind of playing around in range, and to me, that offers up a little bit more opportunity. So you know what? I'll buy a little bit more here. Not too intent on this, but let's do. I do want to buy some back. Let's do a 59 bid, and so we can buy some of that back, and about 20,000 contracts there. All good. And again, same sort of trade idea. Just as long as we hold this area, I don't have any sort of problem with it. And of course, and I want to, and this is actually a great case study here, because this position, I played the same position 1, 2, and this is going to be the third time I've made on my streamer account. Again, just my streamer account, not 0.75 Bitcoin with actually a little bit on the tank right now. And more importantly, yes, at some point in time, this trade idea likely will fade, will fail, but the winners will pay for the losers here, and that's what I want to show. And this is why this is my favorite trading style, because yes, how many times does it work out versus how many times does it not have to work out for you to be successful over time? Well, really just a couple times. So again, quite easy on the soul, and in Bitcoin, well, just behaving right now and being very generous with the way that it kind of plays these guys out. So with all of that said, let's go into the higher time frames now, just because it is very important to separate the lower time frames from the medium time frames from the high and the macro time frames, which I really hope that I don't get misheard on. But as to just kind of wrap up the lower time frames once again, the range is still the same range that we've been working on for the last few days. There's no changes here. We sold the top, we bought the bottom, and now after you go test some supports, probably going to go test some resistances. We do have the medium point right here at the 382 Fibonacci, right around about 11,450, 11,500ish region. If Bitcoin can break back above this region right here, I'd be looking for another test overall into the around low 12,000 most likely. And until we actually break out of this range, there's no real trending trade to be had. If we break out to the downside, as we said before, targeting 10,000, probably have a bounce there, and then targeting a little bit, about 95 and then 85 after that. And same thing to the upside. If we do break to the upside, I'd be looking for a move first and foremost towards, let me reset this here, towards about 12,900 first. And then, and then generally just be looking higher after that. But I want to reassess, if and when we do get there. So right now, a little bit more of a waiting game. Bitcoin, was parabolic for the past 6 months, essentially. And it's not going to resolve itself in just a few days. I mean, I'd imagine that this is probably going to take its time. But as long as Bitcoin holds this blue box territory right here, I just actually see this as a reaccumulation, which is completely fine. Even if we do, head further south, it doesn't destroy the overall bullishness of this from a longer term time frame perspective. Of course, shorter term time frames, yes, there's going to be great trades to the downside. For myself, I'm not really interested in taking shorts in a in an overall up market, just like I wasn't interested in taking longs, last year during the bear market. It's just trading with the trend is all it is. So when I look at this and I'm looking at the lower time frames, it's just it's quite literally this simple, no more complicated than that. Going over here to our medium time frames, go check out what the 6 hours doing. 6 hours still holding the same area as well. In fact, I think that we are going going to be seeing the 6-hour Stokes a little bit on the weaker side. But what are 6-hour RSI doing? Yes, so we are working on a little bit of hidden bullish divergence here. So if Bitcoin does actually reverse from this region, that will be confirmed. Or is it hidden bullish divergence? Actually, I think that we do have a slightly lower low. So no, that idea would go out the window. I apologize. That would actually not be correct. But let's go over here to the 10-hour and 12-hour. What are these guys doing? 10-hour, 12-hour, same thing, just holding the same area. We're actually not getting anything really unique from this. 12-hour is a little bit under pressure. If we, if we even just take out the low of the prior dildo at around 10,600, that would start to look like we're getting ready for a move to the low 10,000s and beyond. But for right now, still, holding itself in, and as we just kind of chug our way along the higher time frames, these are daily right here. The daily does look a little bit nasty. Closing below the red 10 simple yesterday, but overall, we're still not breaking the ranges on the lower time frame. So until we break that, it's one of those things where I'd rather be safe than sorry, just following the overall macro trend. So again, now we're going to get into the higher time frames, which we spoke about a lot over the weekend, and that was kind of like the whole hoopla between around the titles of my video, which admittedly, and very embarrassingly so, are clickbait, right? It's YouTube, it's like a guilty pleasure, right? But at the end of the day, I do want to be very open and honest with that, that sort of idea. When I talk about Bitcoin going back to 20,000, yes, I do think that that's possible. But of course, remember the key critical areas that need to be ticked off first before that becomes, an actual likely reality. And did we close above the, above the critical areas that we were looking for on the monthly Bollinger Bands? No, we closed actually well below. What about the quarterly? The quarterly also closing last night. And did we close above the top Bollinger Band? We got right there. We got right fucking there, but we actually didn't do it. We actually closed about $100 below the top Bollinger Band. So this next quarterly will likely have another chance. But remember, this is 3 months worth of price action, so it's gonna take its time. So the waiting game continued once again. It would have been so beautiful if we actually just closed above on the last one. Then I would have been, I'd feel a lot more comfortable holding longs right now and targeting a move towards 20,000 probably before end of year. But for right now, that idea kind of gets pushed back a little bit just because, we actually didn't initiate that. So again, confirmation was not had, so technically it's not necessarily available, but for all intents and purposes, this does look fine to me. And let's actually look at the quarterly here. So the problem with the BLX index is that it's actually not updated just yet. So we have to go to Bitstamp, which doesn't have as much price action history. But here's the thing: quarterly Stokes are going to be crossing up to the upside or trying to cross the upside here. They were down during the whole 2018 to our current area right now, so about a year and a half. While price action, just leveled out, rallied back up, and reset the oscillator essentially. So I would say that has just allowed the quarterly Stokes to maintain their bullish posturing. Not only that, we have confirmed back above the exponential right here on the RSI. So I really like both these things from a longer term time frame perspective. But remember, this is 3 months worth of price action. So are we going to 20,000 anytime soon? Probably not. But from the quarterly perspective as well, understand that the red 10 simple is actually your major structural support, and that's all the way down around 7,200. So the ranges are massive here is what I want to show. So we could come all the way down to 7,200, 7,300, still maintain an overall bullish look, but understand that because these numbers are so massive, the ranges are naturally going to be naturally going to be huge, and just blindly buying right here, is that going to be the best idea of all time? It still remains to be seen. In fact, lower time frames still struggling. Looking like they might be in a little bit of pressure. But remember, those key critical levels on the 4-hour are going to have carry on over into our higher time frames. So that's kind of the story at large. And what I'm, and what I have my mind's eye on right now. Let's go back to the monthly for a second. I do want to check on this guy, and let's just do the rounds on him. Monthly close. A little bit of profit taking here, decent amount of profit taking here, but overall still fine. We do have the top Tron band coming in right around about 13,300, so that would be the top of our range for now. The median skid mark coming in right around about 73.50. So again, agreeing with that area of structural support. We do see the red 10 simple get closer to the yellow 21 exponential moving average, which tells me that we are actually converging on these guys when they're in technically a bearish cross. So that would say that trend, it's obviously strengthened to the upside is what I'm trying to say. Not only that, but we do see our oscillators, getting more momentum. So monthly Stokes getting out of the bearish control zone for the first time in about a year. in about exactly a year. And what's up? Good to meet you. Oh my God, man, I can't actually see your name right there, but hey, I do want to say pleasure to meet you, and welcome to the cave, my friend. So yes, we do see, the monthly Stokes accurately get in that area. It did accurately call the bullish momentum being gained in 2015 as well. Remember, this is more long-term type stuff, so it's not like playing out today or tomorrow, but we're talking about, on a monthly schedule, so really, over the next few months, most likely. And then also the monthly RSI getting into the bullish control zone for the first time as well in well over a year, actually. So I'm just actually, funnily enough, the first time that we popped back into the bullish control zone here in after the 2014-2015 bear market, it actually did reject, which typically you actually do see. So when I look at this right here, it actually kind of does build up the potential that we do see a greater pullback here with regards to that. But that's, again, probably going to be a buy for myself. So overall, Bitcoin just doing, well, unfortunately more of the same, just because we didn't get to confirm anything damning last night. The only thing that the only thing that looks quite nasty is the way that the weekly closed. So there are two modes of transportation that would make me look for further downside. And when I say further downside, I mean a retracement down at the very least to 10,000. But realistically, it's very unlikely to stop there. I'd say it's if we take the southern road, we're at the very least likely to go to 9,500 and probably 8,500 over time. But the two ways that I'd kind of be angled for that is one, if we actually just took out the low of this shooting star dildo right here, which is 10,300. That's obviously it's going to offer up a lot of a lot of room for interpretation. And two, and perhaps the more proactive way of doing this would just be going down to a lower time frame on the 4 hour. It's not going to be as strong, but probably will get it right anyways. And if we actually do close anywhere below this 0.5 Fibonacci retracement here, which is also this nice horizontal trend line, which is also lining up probably with our volume profile. Yeah, you do see some nice high value nodes coming around this area as well. If we do break this area, then yes, probably looking down towards the lower 9,000s. Whichever one of those happens first, that's kind of the area that would make me look for that actual downside. But for right now, you can see that we're still holding this region, and I'm still taking that same trade until I basically get until it tells me that it's not the right thing to do. And because for the past couple of days it's been so generous, and it's been making money, of course you can afford a loss, and this is the way that I trade. I know that I'm going to take a loss at one point in time, or not at just one point in time, but at some point, right? But it's the winners that pay for it, and that's that statistical setup that over time can allow you to be successful as a trader. It's not about being perfect. It's not about being having the crystal ball or any of that kind of shit. That I don't think can really be done. But this right here, while it's not as sexy, while it's not as enticing, well, pretty fucking easy, and I would imagine that most people can do this. And well, again, the results speak for themselves. Of course, not everyone's going to like that. Some people might want something different, but it looks like I am getting filled on my streamer account here. So going across the different time frames, Bitcoin just kind of slugging its way along here. But I do want to talk about this for a second. I do want to talk about the higher, let's go back to a daily, and so we can see that again. We've seen so many examples of this where Bitcoin has very, 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 very violent moves to the downside, typically to the tune of about 20 to 25%, and then no follow through after that. So let's start with this guy right on over here, and this one about a 13% move to the downside. That first major wick, ending us right on the yellow 21, but no follow through. I mean, we even have an example right here, of course, but these ones a little bit more pronounced. And we had an example right on over here where Bitcoin had about a almost 23% down. No follow through, and then it just floats onwards and upwards. And then what happened right here, as we just saw, we had another, about 25% down move, and so far no follow through below that initial area. Now here's what everyone is talking about in this market right now. And that is the Finex margin positions, which the shorts, you'll notice, are literally below 10,000 right now. So what happened? Did everyone just let go of their shorts? And what the fuck happened? Is it magic? No, of course not. A position was claimed on Finex. So what does that even mean? Well, we can go on over here. What does it mean to claim my position? The claim feature allows the use of funds you have in your margin wallet to settle a leverage position as an exchange, buy or sell. basically they just got to settle. It's literally right there. they got to sell their open margin position, so they were building up a margin short, and they just basically probably put in money on their Bitcoin wallet on Finex just to settle that off exchange. So what were they likely doing? What was this person likely doing? They were likely shorting on the way up, building up a major, massive short position of quite literally about 20,000 coins short, which I should show here. Yeah, you do see this massive red dildo bringing us all the way from about 30,000 to 10,000, and then they wanted to let it go. Why would they do that? Well, if they're uncovering, and of course this is a cover here, and we do know this now because they claim their position, so they obviously have the fucking money to cover it, and it's to the tune of about $250 million. Then that means they have spot underlying long positions. This is what a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people look at this and they're like, and they're thinking that this means that we're about to dump super hard. That would actually be a little bit more bullish than not. And as you can see, yes, shorts can certainly build themselves up back right here. But why would that person uncover their position if that was their thoughts? I mean, either they want to get massively long or they wanted to cover their short and stop taking losses. So but with Bitcoin having the price action that it just had, where it just came down, I mean, is that what you would have done? Would you have covered if that, if you were looking for further downside? Probably not. I mean, in fact, that was the dream. That was a dream close for the weekly on Bitcoin right here. If you're just looking at it like from this perspective, right? So until we actually get that follow through, I really am hesitant to say that we have any downside here. Doesn't mean that it can't happen, but I really think it's incredibly important to go with the former trend until told otherwise. Otherwise you're going to be the same person, who's calling a top every fucking $100 up. I mean, we've seen it all the way through. We do have some nasty things going on right now. Don't get me wrong. We do have weekly stows crossing the downside, but until we actually get that follow through, this is all secondary to actual just casual price action, really. Whoops, wrong click of the mouse there. We could be working on some bearish divergence on the weekly here. That would also be very nasty. So it certainly is in place. Don't get me wrong. If Bitcoin does choose the southern road here, a lot of damage can be done to price action. 9,000 is going to be a target, and then likely about 8,500, and it's probably going to take weeks to transpire. But for right now, Bitcoin still kind of following it. I think it is also worth mentioning that we actually did reject from the top Tron band on last week. So we are actually operating below the top Tron bands once again, which typically does call local tops, as we saw right on over here, popping back down to the red 10 simple, and we're seeing it once again right on over here. Typically though, when you get a signature like that, you actually want to see a move back down to the 20 simple, which is all the way here at about 6,600. I think that that's a lot less likely to happen from right here. But remember, it's going to if that is going to play out, if this is going to be reversal, it plays out, likely over weeks. Or again, we went straight up to the upside for 6 months. It's unlikely that we're just going to play out a correction in the span of less than a week. What's more likely is it's going to take its time, frustrate people. What you want to see is if Bitcoin does come down here, you want to see a nice orderly comeback. You don't want to see an impulsive move to the downside. That would imply that we actually are in a trap, which I don't think is what's happening. I don't think that we're in a trap right now. I think that at the very most, we're probably in a little bit more of a prolonged pullback. But like I said, until we actually break that area in the lower time frames, I'm not going to be I'm not going to be looking for that, and I'm not going to be trading for it either way. I'm not interested in putting on shorts. Like I said, it doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just I'd rather trade with the overall trend. It's a lot more forgiving when you're on the same side as it. So let's go over and check out the crypto fear and greed index, and we're actually at a 65 right now. So it's actually come down quite a bit. Unfortunately, we can only see the more recent price action on this, which is unfortunate. Let me just adjust this, as I notice that I'm not really kind of like on the corner there. My bad. And we do see that it's come back down, finding some comfort in the greedy zone, but that's okay during an overall uptrend. The greedy zone is your comfort zone. It's anywhere below about a 40 marker where it starts to be a little more extreme to the downside, and anywhere above a 90 marker where it's a little bit more extreme to the upside. And as you can see, we're kind of right in the middle between there. So I don't really put on too much weight on that either which way. But we'll just kind of say that we're consolidating, which is exactly what all of our other time frames say. We haven't gone over the 2-day and 3-day just yet. Let's go check out the 2-day. 2-day has done something nasty here. And if the 2-day closes anywhere below, if the 2-day closes anywhere here or lower, I will probably be looking for a further retracement. But we have done something new here. We actually have taken out the low of the prior 2-day dildo. We haven't done that in fucking ages. And that will actually confirm some bearish divergence, actually some pretty nasty bearish divergence. 1, 2, 3 stabs back below the exponential. So target would tentatively be about 9,500 if this does confirm. So we will get confirmation on this later tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Again, it closed anywhere basically here or lower, anywhere below 11,000, and this will be interpreted as as looking for a pullback. We do see on 2-day Stokes that they are coming down. They are going to be cracking back down below the critical zone right there. So it's I mean, you're probably reading between the lines now, and I'm looking probably for a little bit more of a pullback, but again, I'll still trade it the same way, even though my opinion is different. The technical analysis remains the same, and I'll still trade it the same way until we get that critical area, ticked off, as we spoke about before, on the lower time frames, or taking out the weekly low essentially. 3-day looking a little bit nasty as well. We did reject from the top Tron band, which does tell me that we do want to probably play out a retracement here. We do see 3-day Stokes crossing down to the downside once again. Kind of, I don't want to say double topping in this area. That's not the way to be thinking about these guys, but finding the same sort of resistance in this area that we've seen, over the years past. Not only that, but also could be confirming some bearish divergence here as we do get wrangled below the exponential, which will be confirmed if we do take out the low of the prior 3-day dildo, which is about 10,300. So this one would suggest that yes, we probably actually do retrace down to 9,000, upper 8,000s perhaps. But for right now, again, until those lower time frames confirm below that area that I spoke about, I wouldn't be taking trades like this. And even then, like I said, I'm not looking for shorts to begin with. We do see 3-day Jewel is a little bit nastier. It's hard to be bullish looking at that on the 3-day Jewel. Jesus Christ, man, some major divergence on the Jewel as well. So again, we have to be careful in this region, but still not confirming itself just yet. What else do we have to look at? We've looked at just about all of that. Let's go look at. Have we looked at it daily enough? Did I want to say anything else here? Yeah, man, it the more and more that I look at the higher time frames, the more and more that I want to let go of this long. But hey, I'll play it like I said, just to kind of play the position, and that's the right way to do things. Going back on over here again, nothing's different from this perspective, and even just looking at the 4-hour, the lower time frames do want to turn around, is what it looks like. We actually don't have any hidden bullish divergence, but we do have historical volatility percentile getting very, 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 very hot on the 4-hour and lower. So it does tell me that we want to consolidate this region, and does typically in my experience correlate with a nice zone of consolidation. So I don't think it's ready to break just yet. On top of that, I think it is worth mentioning that where was I going to go with that? I think no, I don't think that is I don't think that's appropriate. Let's go over and check out. Let's go check out how the other top shitcoins are doing. I'm curious how they are holding up right now. This is actually my fresh look for the day, and Litecoin at 122, so actually selling off pretty hard on the retest of this trend line right here. Which as we spoke about yesterday, was a resistance. Okay, Litecoin's actually coming under pressure here. Litecoin actually is under pressure here. That was a damn bad close for Mrs. Litecoin. Same thing with weekly. Weekly is a reversal. It does look to me like things want to, at the very least, come back down and test about 114. I would be looking for another bounce off of 114, but the second that we break 114 and close a daily doodle below there, this thing's going to come back down and test about 101, 102 region right around here. So I will put that in place. But this is the actual area. If we actually break this, and yes, I'd be looking for a move down here. Again, going to follow the rest of the market, but the fact is that Mrs. Litecoin doesn't look as it certainly looks a lot more bearish than Bitcoin does. So when typically most things in this market move together, it does have to be carefully considered, just because, well, if Litecoin's going to be looking a little bit more anemic, then that would probably carry on over into Bitcoin as well. So let's go check out Mr. Buterol. How's he doing? Mr. Buterol actually holding up above the yellow 21 still, so okay. I wouldn't get just like Mrs. Litecoin, right on support until we actually break this 291 region. Sorry, let's just call it 290. Yeah, let's call it 290 just because, well, it's a lot easier to say. As long as we hold up above there and also the yellow 21, then yes, I don't really see any downside. But if we do break that area, then I'd be looking for a move back down here to about 275. Probably do get a small term bounce off that region, but let's see how the weekly looks. Yeah, the weekly close pretty nasty as well. Long leg. Do you want to call this long legged doji? Do you want to call it a shooting star? I don't care what the fuck you call it. Typically a sign of indecision, perhaps reversal. Weekly sports actually significantly further down at around 275. to and then below 275 we have about 255. So this one actually looking a lot more nasty. We do see weekly Stochs crossing the downside for the first time. Sorry, I should mention since January 2018. Yeah, Butyrol and Litecoin not looking as strong, actually. So it does kind of change my bias on Bitcoin. But again, until we break that area, that's just trading, man. That's just trading. Again, divorcing my opinion from technical analysis, you can see that I'm really struggling with this right now because I actually do, the more and more that I look at the higher time frames, it does look like we want to retrace further down. I'll still play this position, just to be true to technical analysis. And like I said, can I afford a loss after a couple of big gainers? Absolutely, yeah. And of course, that's the beauty of just playing off those very, very simple and easy, well-defined areas. Your risk is minimized, as long as you can get as close to the entry as possible. Fine, completely fine. Anyways, let's actually look at the lower time frames for a second. Lower time frame, yeah, catching wind of the 4-hour 89, which is going to be the 2-hour 200. Actually, the lower time frames are okay. It's kind of funny. We do have a little bit of bullish divergence coming off the 2-hour right here. What about the 4-hour? Do we have the same thing? Yeah, we do have the same thing a little bit. Yeah. So this bullish divergence will actually be confirmed if we can move back above 303.5. So if Mr. Butyrol does move back above 303.5, I'll be looking for him to actually piece together a run back towards 320-ish region. So that's what's at stake right here. By the same token, a move below 290, 291, and I'd be looking for a move back down to about 275, and likely a bounce there, and then probably lower over time. What else do we got? So let's go over and check out gold. Yeah, gold's coming down. Okay, so last week we said that gold, in a reversal as well, likely to come back down to the 1380-ish region. We are currently at about we got down to a low of 1384. Nicely done, and I do think that we fully fulfill this region. In fact, I might have to expand that region down to about 1370. But keep in mind that the monthly just closed on gold as well. The monthly closed very, very good. So I am bullish on this one overall. We do see a bullish crossing of the red 10 simple and the yellow 21. We do have divergence between the two, so trying to strengthen to the upside overall as we break out above this horizontal trend line right here. Measure move still pointing much higher towards 15,050. Sorry, not 15,050. 1515-ish area. We do see monthly Stochs gaining momentum. We do see monthly RSI confirming above the exponential and rallying its way into the bullish control zone for the first time since literally 2011, October 2011, during this portion right on over here. I do believe that we've seen the turnaround in this, and I do believe that this is going to end up being a buy. So, we're kind of in the zone right now. I do think it probably gives another stab back down to the low 1380-ish region. But I do think that it bounces from that region, and overall the longer term trend is still very much intact. Let's go over here. Nope, not the 3 weeks. What I want the actually the 3 week did just close, didn't it? I want the quarterly on this guy. Quarterly closed damn well as well. In fact, quarterly looking even better, I'd say. Quarterly RSI confirming above the exponential and looking constructive. Same thing with quarterly Stochs right here, working their way upwards and onwards into the bullish control zone for the first time in a very long time as we break resistances. That's a damn good signal in my opinion. So overall, gold and Bitcoin trading quite similarly to each other, both kind of putting in local tops. Gold already playing out, I think, the majority of its retracement. I'd say as far as about 1369 is where I'd be looking towards, but anywhere within this region, I'd probably be looking for this one to reaccumulate over the next couple weeks and try some more upside later on. But for right now, just kind of cooling off. Remember, these things, they take their time. We've been basically straight up for quite some time, and it's not going to be resolved in just a few days. It's going to take it's going to take its time. Let's go check out what's Stinky Linky doing. Oh my God, the fucking savior of the market. A couple of long wicks here, rejections off the 36,000 region. Where am I getting this from? I wonder where. Maybe on the lower time frames here. Oh yeah, that's right. We have the range on the 4-hour. Looking a little bit weaker on the 4-hour here. I do think that we pop back down and test 29,700. It looks like we already actually bounced off that in the early morning session. So if you did catch that scalp, hey, well done. Good quick play there. Probably does come back down and test this region once again, and I'd probably be looking for another bounce within this region. But if you do see this region break below 29,700, I'd be looking for a move back down into this region. Actually about 25,200-ish region down here. So let me just put in a nice horizontal right around there, right around the 50 the 50x. 50E is what I like to say. And overall, still chain like closing weeklies like a fucking champ. I'd still be bullish on the weekly actually, looking damn good. Weekly Stokes have plenty of fucking room, moi, and we do see that weekly RSI getting way up there. But it's not until we start putting in divergence where it starts to say that this is looking more nasty. Again, continuation is the name of the game until told otherwise. Cardano, what's Cardano doing? Still holding on to lows. So we're actually at a very pivotal point for most of the altcoins versus Bitcoin. And again, altcoins versus dollar gonna basically mimic what the major market leaders are doing: Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and various other ones in the top 10. But versus the Bitcoin pairing, if Bitcoin is going to reaccumulate in this area and is going to head up further north, then I'd have to be bearish on the Bitcoin pairings. However, if Bitcoin does spend some time going sideways within this region, which I think is actually quite likely, we're gonna probably see a lot of altcoins start to rally back up again. Although, if I'm just looking at Cardano's chart right here versus Bitcoin, it looks pretty fucking bad. Monthly closed absolutely terribly. Weekly closed terribly as well, increasing volume to the downside. But let's look at the Bitcoin dominance chart for a second. And Bitcoin dominance chart, last I looked yesterday, it was hitting resistance. Let's see if it actually backed off further from that region. Weekly right here did close pretty damn strong, so I would say that weekly probably does overall maintain its bullishness, but I do think that the weekly probably pulls back to like the 63% area right there. Looking at daily, what does daily look like? Daily looks like it's kind of getting picked on. Well, we actually already just got back down to 63.8. Do we have a little bit more to go, or did we get picked up here? I mean, Golden Cross just happened. I mean, long term, I'd still be bullish on the Bitcoin dominance chart, so I'd have to say that altcoin's still a little bit in trouble, actually. Monthly closed as well. Monthly closed damn well above the yellow 21 exponential moving average. Our first open and close above this guy, and you can see a very obvious fight among this area, but still, holding up well. It does certainly offer up the potential for us to test back down towards that 63 area, but that's gonna be, that's gonna spell some more pain for alts, after we come back down there. So alts probably do get a little bit of love, but second that you see Bitcoin get picked up once again, this looks like it wants higher to me. Strong, looks fucking strong. What else do we have? I should probably add that to my list. But yeah, to do Cardano justice, let's look at it versus US dollar. I'm curious how he's kind of holding up during this area. During this area. Monthly did close as a shooting star right there. Daily a little bit just in consolidation is what I look at right on over here. Still kind of holding. Well, I guess we can just redraw it, baby. Just fucking redraw it. No, we're gonna redraw it along the 200 exponential. That's why I don't typically like charting these sorts of things, but until we actually fully break down, it's still a hard call. If we do break this area right here, I'd be looking for a move back down to about 6.5 cent. Catch the 200 simple, which is probably going to be a buy, but again, gonna follow whatever Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin takes the southern road here, then yes, you will see this one break down. If Bitcoin holds up, then you're actually going to see the dollar pairing for Cardano and most other alts actually rally up. So it's still kind of a careful game as we figure out if we want to trend or not. Let's see what else we got here. What else we got, baby? BNB. What's BNB doing? BNB breaking this territory right here. Coming down to our next level right around 32.5, as we spoke about yesterday. And, well, I'd be looking for a little bit of a bounce here. We already kind of did test that upside once again. Let's go down to a lower time frame. Not a nice 4-hour dildo closed right here. Actually, I wouldn't get bearish on this one. I wouldn't get further bearish on this one as long as we're closing 4-hour dildos back above $32. If $32 does break, then I'd be looking for a move back down to about $30 even. But for right now, I think this one tries a little bit more upside back towards $34 in the lower time frames. Zcash. Well, actually, let's go to the weekly for a second. Weekly looks bad. weekly looks like tweezer tops right here. Weekly looks like reversal. Weekly Stokes headed down. Weekly RSI bearish divergence. The weekly looks bad. Weekly looks like wants to come down to at the very least $30, and then maybe even over time about 25 and a quarter. But remember though, it's the same thing as Bitcoin. Until that lower time frame area actually breaks, I wouldn't be looking for it just yet. Zcash closing kind of a nasty weekly. Yeah, daily. Oh man, daily really gave it up here too. But still holding this area. Again, I can't get bearish on anything that has a golden cross and is above the yellow 21. The golden cross being the 50, the green 50, and the purple 200 right here, and the yellow 21 being this guy right here. As long as we're above that, I'm not bearish on it. If we do break this area, then yes, I'd be looking for a move back down at the very least towards 92 and a half. It looks like 92 and a quarter. But until that happens, I think still a little bit premature. I'm actually going to take this trend line away right here, and I would say that we're just kind of consolidating within this region. We do see daily Stokes backing off a lot while price actions essentially remain flat. So I am a little bit apprehensive to call anything here. And weekly did just see a bullish crossing of the red 10 simple and the yellow 21. What else we got? Bcash. Bcash looking a lot more toppy. This one looks like a lot more of a rejection, almost a bearish engulfing, but not quite. Bcash support right around 345, 346. What's Tron looking like? Tron still holding up above the green 50. That's structural support right there. It's also going to be your daily 377. I don't have any problem with this until we actually break this region, which is 3.15. If we do break that region, then yes, I'd be looking for a move back down to 2.8. But until that happens, I think it's premature to be calling anything here. Monthly does look nasty. Monthly does look like a nice shooting star dildo, but until we break that area, again, I wouldn't be front running these decisions. Everyone's looking at the same thing, and right now the popular opinion is that Bitcoin's going to retrace below 10,000. So I do think it's a little bit more of a contrarian thing to do to actually be at the very least neutral here, which I'd say I'm more neutral than anything, with a slight upwards bias just because that is our general trend. Neo, clear rejection off the 50 exponential moving average. Any sort of continuation below $15.96, and I'll be looking for a move down to $14 and perhaps beyond. Daily looks kind of nasty here. Daily looks like it wants to come back down to $16 even. But golden crossing above the yellow 21, I can't get more bearish than that. I really can't get bearish on it until we actually break that area, and then I'd be looking for a move, about 1420-ish region. EOS looks like it wants to pop back down to 535. And again, I think it's also worth mentioning that for any of these alts, I don't really care what my analysis is for them. They're basically just going to mimic whatever Bitcoin does. So Bitcoin and the market leaders come first and foremost. They typically follow. Ripple still holding on to the bottom side of this support right here, or is it? Nope, not so much. Actually, did break it last night alongside the blue 3.7 cent exponential moving average. So I would be a little bit careful with this. This trend line is technically broken, although not the biggest fan of trend lines, of diagonal trend lines, especially when we're right around major moving averages. Major moving average is going to get it better, going to get it more precisely, and this guy right on the edge of that one. Let's see how the weekly closed. Weekly closed pretty bad. Weekly did close bad. Weekly support around 37.5 cent. So potential downside target there if Bitcoin does break down. Monero, what's Monero doing? Monero, same sort of, oh my God, terrible close on the weekly actually here. Resistance right around $96, support right around $80. Let's see, daily. Yeah, daily looks toppy here. Bearish divergence. I'm gonna guess. Yep, we do have a little bit bearish divergence there. Kind of far away, but yeah, it looks kind of nasty there. What is Stellar doing? Stellar at 10.8, and what do we have here? Yeah, breaking through the 200 simple. Jesus Christ, man, fucking nasty, super nasty there. A little bit of a fake out to the upside and back down, and actually a little bit more like this now, isn't it? So rejection right at the retest. Hard to be bullish on that. So yeah, it does a lot of things in this market do not look good. So is it possible that is it possible? What the fuck is going on here? Is it possible that Bitcoin is just going to be the last one to follow, and we're seeing kind of the altcoins carry on over first? Yes, definitely possible. So I would be careful, but like I said, just kind of wrap this bitch up and bring it full circle until we actually break this area right here on the 4 hour. Either this area right here at 10,007 or this area right here at 12,400. I don't see any major change from just a nice sideways consolidation, as we said for the last couple weeks. We called the top on this guy right on over here, called the retracement, and I don't say these things to sound arrogant or anything like that. It's just so you can do it yourself. I mean, it's quite simple stuff, just playing off of fib from longer term perspective. But zooming it out right here, we do see. We hit the 618 last week. We came all the way back down to the 0.5, and now we're just kind of hanging out here. So. Again, just consolidation until told otherwise. There certainly are a lot of toppy-ish type things, in place right now. But like I said, until we actually take out that, the lower time frames, I'm going to treat it as we've seen before. The trend is your friend until the end of the trend, and that's essentially why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I think with that said, I'll probably cut it off here. So I do want to wish you well for the rest of your Monday. I'll be back on later with some more live stream analysis. Looking forward to see you there. If not, well, I do want to wish you well and wish you the best. Take care and see you soon.